The Philippines.
Do they speak Spanish?
Yeah, I think so. I think they speak only Spanish. Not English, not Tagalog, nothing.
Yeah, I mean, when I was hearing that SB19 song the other day, I heard like a Spanish word in there, so I'd assume they only speak Spanish.
They're just like, ¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo estás? Just like that.
That sounds like a great song.
That would be a good. What is your name? How are you? We could make a Spanish song. I think that's what's next for us as a Spanish. We're gonna change this into a Spanish song channel. We're gonna win some Latin music Grammys
with all our Latin viewers,
and we're going for it.
But we have done a lot of language videos on here about the Philippines, so we're doing this one, Do Filipinos Speak Spanish?
Yes, we've done Can They Speak English? We've done Can They Speak Filipino? But can they speak Spanish?
Let's see. Debunking it.
She's gonna tell us, I'm assuming she is a Filipino woman. She's gonna debunk some myths for us here. Hopefully you guys enjoy. If you notice, we're in a new space. It's not the normal room. We're in Georgia, the country. We're so much closer to the Philippines than before.
Yeah, we're like halfway there from where we were.
Yeah, we're almost there. We're just like inching a little bit closer and closer, and then COVID gets worse, and then they're like, nope, you can't come. And then we're like, oh, okay. I guess we'll stay.
We'll just be here.
Yep.
Hi.
All right, anyways, let's do this right here, right now. Hopefully you enjoy. If you do, subscribe, like the video. Let us know more videos we should check out down in the comments below. We need some more suggestions. Put them down there. Upvote the ones you want to see, and let's do this.
Okay.
What are the myths gonna be? Here we go.
Y cuando la gente me escuchan hablar en español, todos piensan que en Filipinas hablamos español, pero no.
We should go sandboarding.
No,
Down that mountain up there.
Traigo mi pasaporte.
Es un sol, ¿no? Toma. Un sol. ¿No quieres tomar un café?
No, es muy tarde.
¿De qué país eres?
Filipinas.
Ah, filipensa.
The Philippines was a former Spanish colony, right? So how come we don't speak Spanish? Or do we? Prior to colonization, the area now known as the Philippines was a group of islands connected by water. Independent, advanced, socially complex, and ethno-linguistically distinct communities ruled by respective tribal leaders. Most of the time, peacefully coexisted with each other. Trade with neighboring nations to the north like China, Japan, and Taiwan, and to the south like Malaysia and Indonesia was commonplace. When Fernando de Magallanes arrived in 1521, was commonplace.
Is that his like Spanish name?
Ferdinand
Magellan? Ferdinand Magellan, whatever.
De Magallanes arrived in 1521.
Weird.
He united all islands into one nation under the Spanish crown and
Ferdinand
named
of
it Las
Magellan.
Filipinas after Philip II of Spain. From then on, the Philippines came under Spain's control and sphere of influence, slowly but surely for the next 333 years.
Babayaran natin.
Babayaran ko pakiwala.
10 to each.
Bayad na ako.
Bayad ka. Saan ka nagbayad?
The archipelago used to be Spain's primary foothold in Asia. Due to the Philippines' unique geographical location, not only did it become an important base for the empire's stake in the profitable spice trade, it was also a strategic location for conducting commerce from the Americas to the Far East. What else? Surprise, surprise! Most towns and cities also have Hispanic names. You've got the obvious ones, towns being named after places within peninsular Spain and towns named after saints.
Isabela!
Anyone here from Nueva Vizcaya, Nueva Ecija, Pamplona Negros, Córdoba, Cebu? I bet you've at least been once to a place named Santa Cruz, San Pablo, or San Nicolas. Another thing worth mentioning is that having a Hispanic last name or a Hispanic sounding last name is a norm. I can bet you that the top 20 Filipino last names are all Hispanic in origin. I can tell you.
Well, this is
Filipino
that's
last
in
names
Spain.
are all.
And then, yep, those all look Spanish to me, except for Ang. Is Ang?
What about uy?
Uy. Uy. It could, a Spanish person be like, ¿Cómo estás? Uy.
Uy!
Uy.
That's just the Spanish version of uy.
Uy, uy, uy. Are they Australian?
Yeah.
All Hispanic in origin.
Abela.
I can tell you how many
I don't know why I'm
Cruces,
saying it like
Santoses,
Italian.
Reyes, Garcias, Mendozas, Bautistas, that I know. If you're from the Philippines, leave a comment below on what do you think is the most common surname, or in Tagalog, apellido, pero en Spanish lo decimos apellido.
You want to know the most common surname in America?
Smith. It's, hey, I'm Mr. Smith.
My name's John Smith.
Yeah, that's about as basic as you can get here.
Yep.
John Smith or like a Jacob Smith.
Yeah, pretty much. Smith.
To streamline government processes like census and tax collection, and to further strengthen their rule, Spanish colonizers enacted a law making it mandatory for everyone to adopt a surname. There was literally a catalog
some
where
booties in
people
that
can
picture.
choose
There's some
Spanish or
booties.
local surnames from. Most of the indigenous lowland population and some Chinese immigrants as well chose to change their last names to Hispanic last names, probably
Weird.
believing that this change might benefit them. Food? Oh yes, you've got afritada, caldereta, menudo, mechado, longaniza, picadillo, arroz caldo, tocino,
This is
tapa,
going very
even
fast.
adobo. The
Adobo,
list
I got
goes
that one.
on. There are roughly around 4,000 Spanish loan words in Tagalog, the most spoken dialect in the country, and roughly around 6,000 in
a bustling
Bisaya,
market.
another widely
bustling
spoken
city.
dialect. Lots of words are spelled differently or bastardized, and lots of phrases are used in a different context. These two dialects in particular, because the regions
Yes, we
with-
learned that even with the English. We learned that on the Elves Planet video. We learned that some of the words can be, even if they're the same word, used differently.
Yes, definitely. There's a lot of slang that is thrown around in different.
That happens with the Spanish too.
Yeah, it's perfect. Everyone's got their own thing.
They got their old slang, their old twang.
You gotta I was gonna say you gotta use your napkin.
And then punch me in the face with
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Oh.
Sometimes, have you ever seen they put the napkins up your nose because it stops the bleeding, it absorbs it. That's what you gotta do.
You're talking about American napkin, right?
Yeah, yeah.
where it's most widely spoken were centers of Spanish governance, which are Manila and Cebu. 75. Toma. Gracias. Almost everyone in the Philippines knows how to count in Spanish up to 100, and they don't even know it. Así que, por ejemplo, nosotros también contamos 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The way we say the time in the Philippines is also the same. Por ejemplo, les doy un ejemplo, digamos a la 1, a las 2, a las 3. Eso es un ejemplo de frase en Filipinas. Anong oras na? A la 1 na ma. Days of the week and months are also the same. Nosotros también digamos enero, febrero, marzo, pero las letras son diferentes. Por ejemplo, marzo escribimos con S en vez de Z. Lots of words related to kitchenware or cooking are also similar. Por ejemplo, los cubiertos, digamos igual, tenedor, cuchara, cuchillo, mesa, silla, casi todos los sustantivos, la verdad. And so are things in relation to law and governance. And then there's Chavacano, a Spanish-based Creole language widely spoken in the Zamboanga region. Brief history. In the hopes of further uniting the archipelago under Christianity and under their sphere of influence, the Spaniards established Zamboanga as a foothold in the predominantly Muslim South. A means to communicate was needed between the locals and the Spaniards. In many cases, some Spaniards will learn the local language to gain trust and establish a connection with the local population. But in this case, a grammatically simplified form of a language used for communication between two people not sharing common language was established. This is what you call a pidgin, which then eventually turned into Chavacano. Although spelling of words may differ, it is very similar that a person speaking Chavacano can sufficiently and aptly converse to a Spanish-speaking person.
Son de Tailandia.
Filipinos. Aquí está
Filipinas.
nuestra guía, Mayra.
Hola.
Ella va a explicar, ¿qué es eso?
Ahorita, ¿a qué te refieres?
During Spain's 333
Can you explain to me what this is?
Which one?
Well,
year-long rule, Spanish was, of course, a widely spoken language. It was even officially considered a national language alongside English and Tagalog until it officially wasn't in 1987. After 300 years of rule, you'd think Spanish would be widely spoken across the country today like it is in most Latin American countries, but no. For almost a century now, English has been the country's lingua franca. What happened? First of all, the majority of the indigenous population of the Philippines remained intact. Unlike in Latin America, where the indigenous population was wiped out not only by the colonizers, but also by imported diseases. Furthermore, because of the Philippines' relative distance and isolation from the rest of the Spanish colonies, not a lot of Spanish people emigrated to the archipelago. Next, in terms of literacy and education, during the Spanish colonial period, as it is today, it is a privileged only reserved for those in the upper class of Philippine society, meaning Spanish-born immigrants, also known as Peninsulares, Philippine-born Spanish people, also known as Insulares, and half Filipino, half Spanish people, also known as Mestizos. Basically, a minority of the population. In the greater part of colonial rule, the majority of the population didn't have access to education. Despite developing a public school system towards the latter part of colonial rule, the masses still were not able to adequately express themselves in Spanish and were still more comfortable in their native tongue. To add to that, throughout all the years of colonial rule, everyday transactions of the masses were conducted in the native language.
That was just an interesting language. Suddenly cut to her just smoking a pipe.
Yeah.
She didn't go like this though. Whenever you see it, like in old cartoons where they're smoking a pipe like that, they go.
And then.
Yeah.
Big picture, there really was no true social and cultural and linguistic assimilation that happened in the Philippines. Towards the end of the Spanish colonial rule, a strong sense of nationalism also emerged in the Philippines, mainly propagated by the Filipino Spanish-speaking, mostly European-educated class, aka ilustrados. Filipinos longed to distinguish themselves from their colonizers. So when did the transition to English begin? Well, to begin with, Spain ceded the Philippines, Guam, and Puerto Rico to the United States in 1898 under the Treaty of Paris. This means American dominance in the archipelago henceforth. The Americans also set out to establish a Philippine public school system and a system of governance mirrored after the American systems, all of course anchored in English. The masses now have access to learn a language more than their native tongue. The rest is history, as they say. At the early stages of American colonization, Filipinos ate up American hegemony, and they still do. The American dream is still strong amongst Filipinos. Just look at the Filipino diaspora all across 50 American states. In the Philippines, American pop culture still reigns supreme. Consumer behavior is still mostly dictated by what's trendy in the United States. If you have any other ideas as to why Filipinos don't speak Spanish, please share your insights in the comment box below and share your thoughts. It's kind of a pena, como digamos en español, because what if we spoke Spanish? What would be our life and economy right now?
That would be interesting if they did end
Thanks for
up.
watching this video. I just want to clarify that I did not learn Spanish in a school. I just pushed myself to be in a Spanish-speaking environment and mostly just put myself in places where no one speaks English. I'm gonna have a video about how to effectively learn Spanish without taking classes or paying for courses. So keep it here, and thank you so much for always supporting me.
Interesting.
Have a great week.
You have a great week too.
Yeah.
But I wonder if they would have went with Spanish instead, if it would be more like a Latin American country.
Well, yeah, they would have closer relations probably to more of Latin America. I mean, they already have pretty close ties, but they would have even closer ties to Latin America, but they'd probably have less ties with other English-speaking countries then.
We know how English-speaking country colonization works. They pull in and they're like, you're doing it our way now. There's no.
She said that the Americans came in and created a government for them modeled after the American government system. The Spaniards came in and they're like, adopt a Spanish surname.
Europeans, that's how it is. The pasty boys like us. Our ancestors were very forceful, yes, and demanding.
We're pretty cool though.
Yeah, we're not like that. Look at us. We're in Georgia. We're just here to learn about more about the cultures. It's cool to see how Filipino today, I mean, obviously it wouldn't be the way it is today if it wasn't for the Spanish and the whole colonization history of it, of course, mixed with the cultures that were already there and just Philippines.
Yeah, and then this is still such a over like simplified version of it. It's 10 minutes and you get to see like where the influences come from, but you don't really get to see too much how like they developed, because that's such an interesting thing too, how like everything just meshed and like how it all developed into that. We got a little bit like a nice overview here, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's really cool.
It'd be cool to learn more.
So interesting that they speak so many Spanish words, but they don't necessarily speak Spanish. It's really, really cool and really interesting. But let us know other videos we need to check out down in the comments below, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you later.